Stop everything, just for a moment. Breathe in deeply. Look around you right now, the room, the screen, the life you've built so far. Everyone out there is moving at breakneck speed. Everyone is chasing illusions. Everyone is blindly following a map that was drawn by strangers, handed down through generations, without ever questioning if it leads anywhere worth going. And in all that relentless noise, that endless hustle, when was the last time you truly paused and asked yourself, out loud, with brutal honesty, is this even my life? Or am I just a puppet dancing to someone else's forgotten tune? Am I building something real, or just filling time until the credits roll? Right now, in this exact second, not tomorrow, not next week, not when things get easier, you are standing at a fork in the road that most people drive right past without even noticing. One path is wide, smooth, illuminated by neon signs of approval and predictability, crowded with millions walking in perfect, mechanical lockstep. It's safe, it's comfortable, it promises security, and it leads exactly where everyone else ends up, a quiet life of quiet desperation. The other path, narrow, overgrown with thorns, unmarked and shrouded in mist, lonely as a forgotten trail in the wilderness, but it pulses with raw energy, it hums with untapped potential, it's alive with the kind of fire that forges legends, and it's yours, if you have the courage to claim it. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor who ruled an empire spanning continents, who faced wars, plagues, and betrayals, rode every night in his tent while his army slept around him. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Most people read words like that and nod politely, then go back to their routines. The rare few, the ones who reshape their worlds, they tattoo it on their soul. They live it, they become it. Something dragged you here today, didn't it? Some invisible force, some quiet whisper from deep inside. Maybe you're exhausted from the daily grind of pretending everything's fine when it's not. Maybe you woke up one morning in a life that looks successful on the outside, the job, the house, the routine, but feels like a hollow shell in your chest, echoing with unfulfilled potential. Maybe you caught a fleeting glimpse of the person you could become, stronger, freer, more alive, and the gaping chasm between that vision and your current reality is keeping you awake at night, tossing and turning with questions you can't ignore anymore. Whatever it is, that ache in your gut, that quiet rage building like a storm, that tiny, persistent voice that refuses to shut up and settle. That's the part of you that still believes you were born for something greater. Something extraordinary. Hold on to it tightly. Nurture it. Protect it from the world's cynicism. Because today, right here in this video, we're going to feed that fire until it roars. Let's explore what it means to live with purpose, drawing from ancient wisdom that has stood the test of time. If this is already hitting you square in the throat, making your heart race a little faster, do me a favor, hit the like button right now to lock in that energy. Drop a comment that simply says, I'm still here, and I'm listening. Share this with one person in your life who's sleepwalking through their days without realizing it, and subscribe so you never miss the fuel you need. Do not, I repeat, do not, skip a single second of what's coming next, because the coming minutes contain the exact Stoic code that the rare few live by every single day, and the majority will never even comprehend, let alone apply. We're about to walk slowly, deliberately through the ancient Stoic principles that separate the masses who stay forever stuck in cycles of regret, from the rare few who become truly unstoppable forces in their own lives. This is not fluffy motivation that fades by lunchtime. This is battle-tested wisdom from men like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, philosophers who ruled empires, endured slavery, faced death daily, and still chose virtue over victimhood, action over excuses, growth over comfort. Ready? Close your eyes for a second. Breathe in deeply. Feel the weight of this moment. Let's go. Outwork everyone when no one is watching, quietly, consistently, relentlessly, like a force of nature carving canyons over centuries. While the world is mindlessly refreshing social feeds, binge-watching distractions, and longing for the end of the workday, the rare few are asking a radically different question. What else can I do today, right now, that will make the version of me in the future look back and thank me with tears in their eyes? Seneca, the advisor to emperors who lived in exile and faced forced suicide, said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a great deal of it. Life is long enough, and a sufficiently generous amount has been given to us for the highest achievements if it were all well invested. Every single minute you give to average pursuits is a minute you rob from the extraordinary version of yourself that's desperately trying to be born." You think the legends you admire, the entrepreneurs who built vast empires, the athletes who shattered records, the artists who changed culture, got there with raw talent alone. No, absolutely not. They got there in the dark corners of discipline. In the early morning silence when their friends were still snoring under warm blankets. In the extra effort after everyone else had headed home to unwind. In the dedicated time they sacrificed for mastery while others indulged in endless entertainment. Let me paint a vivid picture for you. Close your eyes and imagine this scene unfolding. Right now, somewhere in the world, perhaps in a tiny apartment in a bustling city, or a modest garage turned workshop, or a quiet library corner in your own neighborhood, there is someone living the exact life you say you want. The freedom, the impact, the fulfillment, they have the same hours in a day as you do. They face the same obstacles, the same doubts, the same temptations that pull at everyone. The only difference, they were willing to work harder than you have been, so far. But, so far, is the most powerful phrase in any language, my friend. Because it means your story isn't written yet. Because today can be the inflection point where everything shifts forever. The beginning of outworking everyone feels like pure brutality. Your body aches from the strain, your mind screams for rest and relief, excuses flood in like a relentless tidal wave crashing against your resolve. The initial period feels impossible, doubts creep in like shadows at dusk, progress feels as invisible as wind, and the world seems to conspire against your every step forward. But somewhere along the way, something magical shifts inside you, like a gear clicking into place. Momentum becomes your new identity, a habit that propels you. Discipline transforms from a burdensome chore into pure, liberating freedom. And one day, you look up from your work and realize the gap between you and everyone else isn't just noticeable anymore. It's a vast, unbridgeable canyon that they'll never cross, no matter how hard they try later. Think about Thomas Edison, who persisted through countless failures before illuminating the world. He didn't stop because he outworked his setbacks into innovation. Or J.K. Rowling, typing away in cafes amid hardship, rejected by publishers repeatedly, she outworked her rejections into a timeless legacy that inspires millions. This is the Stoic way. Consistent effort compounds like interest in a bank account you didn't know existed, growing silently until it overflows. Reflect on your own life for a moment. What small act of outworking could you commit to today that echoes this principle? Perhaps reading one more page, making one more call, practicing one more skill. These add up. If you are done making excuses, done settling for scraps, and ready to outwork your doubts, your past self, and your competition, even when nobody claps, even when it hurts, even when you're utterly alone, type this in the comments right now to seal your commitment. I outwork my doubts. Stay in the game longer than anyone thinks is sane, with the quiet patience of a mountain weathering endless storms across eras. We live in a generation hopelessly addicted to instant everything. Instant success stories, instant transformations, instant riches peddled by influencers with carefully edited highlight reels that hide the grind. We see the victory lap on stage and miss the long period of bleeding in the gym that no one ever bothered to film or share. We see the massive business exit splashed across headlines and forget the string of failed ventures, the sleepless nights filled with worry, the mountains of debt and doubt that came before it all. Here's the raw, unfiltered truth that will save your life if you let it sink deep into your bones. Greatness is not a quick dash you can win with sheer speed alone. It's not even a prolonged endurance test you survive with grit. It is a lifelong apprenticeship to the twin virtues of patience and persistence, a slow, deliberate dance with time itself, where every step counts. The Chinese bamboo tree, a perfect metaphor from nature's own Stoic playbook, spends a long period growing an invisible root system underground, deep into the earth where no one can see. For that extended time, you water it faithfully every day, fertilize it with care and attention, protect it from weeds, storms, and pests, and nothing, absolutely nothing, breaks the surface. No green shoots emerge, no signs of life appear, just barren dirt and growing doubt in your mind. Most people would quit halfway through, ripping it up in frustration and anger, declaring it a complete failure and moving on. Then, suddenly, that same humble tree explodes skyward in a burst of growth, a towering testament to the power of invisible preparation and unwavering faith. Those wasted years weren't wasted at all. They were the entire point. The foundation, the unbreakable roots that make the explosive growth possible and sustainable. Your dreams operate on exactly the same eternal law of nature. The work you're doing today, the habits you're building brick by brick, the skills you're honing through repetition, the failures you're learning from with humility, when nothing seems to be happening on the surface, that's your root system taking hold, spreading wide and deep. Stop digging it up every little while to check if it's growing, trust the process instead. Stop measuring progress with a stopwatch or calendar. Keep watering consistently, keep showing up no matter what. Keep believing when belief feels foolish and the world labels you delusional for not giving up. The majority quit when the timeline doesn't match their instant gratification fantasy. They start a business and expect profits immediately, begin a fitness journey and demand visible results right away, launch a creative project and bail when the recognition doesn't flood in at once. The rare few measure progress in long arcs, not short bursts. They plant seeds knowing the harvest is seasons or even lifetimes away. They keep watering those seeds through droughts that parch the soul, floods that overwhelm, and frosts that chill the spirit. If you are willing to stay in the game longer than anyone thinks is reasonable, longer than your friends advise you to, longer than your doubts allow you to, you've already won half the battle, positioning yourself for inevitable breakthrough. Remember Seneca's exile, where he wrote his greatest works while separated from power and luxury. His patience turned suffering into philosophy that echoes through millennia, influencing thinkers and leaders across history. Or Epictetus, born into slavery, who persisted in teaching the freedom of the mind despite physical chains binding his body, his lessons enduring as beacons of resilience. This is patience. Not passive waiting like a stone, but active trust in the process, a daily recommitment to the path. Pause and ask yourself, what dream have you abandoned too soon? What if you recommitted today with this stoic patience? Treat every setback as a teacher, not a tombstone, as a forge that tempers your steel rather than a grave that buries your dreams forever. Most people treat obstacles like permanent stop signs, red lights they obey without question or challenge. The rare few treat them like secret doorways, hidden passages leading to greater rooms filled with opportunity. Epictetus, a former slave who became one of history's greatest philosophers despite having his leg broken by his master as punishment, said, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." He didn't just survive setbacks, he alchemized them into wisdom, turning pain into profound insight. Every person you admire has a hidden chapter full of moments when quitting would have been the most rational, logical choice in the world, endorsed by friends and family alike. The difference is they took one more step when everything inside them, body aching, mind weary, society judging, screamed to stop, to retreat, to settle for less. Listen carefully, because this might be the most important thing you hear today, a truth that could alter your trajectory. The moment you most want to quit, when the pain peaks like a crescendo, when the doubt is deafening like thunder, when failure feels final and irreversible, is usually the exact moment the tide is about to turn in your favor, if you hold on. That failed product launch that cost you dearly, it's not punishment from the universe, it's a masterclass in what not to do next time, a lesson etched in experience. That brutal rejection from the job, the investor, the partner that stung. It's not a verdict on your worth, it's redirection to something better aligned with your true path and potential. That business that collapsed in flames, leaving you in debt and despair. It's not the end, it's the curriculum teaching you the exact lessons for the empire you'll build next, stronger and wiser. That relationship that shattered your heart into pieces, leaving you broken. It's not destruction, it's clearing space for someone who sees your full light and cherishes it. Setbacks are the universe knocking on your door, asking in a booming voice that echoes, how bad do you actually want this? Are you just flirting with your dreams, or are you married to them for life, through thick and thin? Most people fail this test spectacularly, they crumble under the weight, they complain bitterly, they retreat to the comfort of the familiar. The rare few use the test as rocket fuel, rising stronger from the ashes like a phoenix reborn. If every closed door, every fall only makes you more determined, more resilient, more wise, comment right now to affirm it and make it real. Setbacks fuel my comeback. Stop walking the highway everyone else is jammed on, blaze your own trail. Through the untamed wilderness of possibility, where no footprints exist but your own. There is a wide, well-lit road with perfect signage, smooth pavement, and endless traffic jams that leads exactly where billions are trying to squeeze into. It's called, do what you're supposed to do. Follow the script handed to you. Go to school because that's the plan society expects, get the safe job because that's responsible and secure, buy the house, chase the promotion, retire with a gold watch and a lifetime of what-ifs, whispering in your ear like ghosts. Then there is the other path, the one less traveled, as poets might say, but with a stoic twist of iron will. Overgrown with uncertainty and vines of doubt, unmapped and twisting through shadows that test your resolve, terrifying in its isolation and silence, but it has your name etched in fire across the entrance, calling you home like a siren song. Marcus Aurelius wrote every day to himself as a reminder amid the chaos of ruling Rome. At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I have to go to work, as a human being. What do I have to complain about, if I'm going to do what I was born for, the things I was brought into the world to do? Blazing your own path means being willing to disappoint the people who need you to stay small, predictable, and safe, because your growth forces them to confront their own stagnation, their own unlived lives, their own regrets. It means walking alone for seasons, perhaps even longer, with only your inner voice for company. It means being called crazy, reckless, arrogant by those who've never dared to dream beyond the fence of convention. Good, let them talk, let them project their fears onto you. Their opinions are the toll you pay for true freedom, the kind that comes from living authentically, not apologetically, from the core of who you are. Think of Galileo, defying the church's established highway to blaze a path of truth about the stars, facing persecution but illuminating humanity. Or Rosa Parks, refusing the back of the bus to forge a trail for justice, sparking movements that changed societies. The world doesn't need another carbon copy marching in line with the crowd. It needs you, raw, real, revolutionary in your uniqueness. Reflect. What societal expectation are you ready to defy today to honor your true calling? If you are done living someone else's blueprint, done shrinking to fit into boxes, and ready to carve your own destiny through the wilderness no matter the cost or criticism, declare it loud and proud in the comments. I create my own path. Make discomfort your new home, your constant companion, your trusted ally in the war against mediocrity and stagnation. Comfort is the slowest, most seductive form of suicide. It lulls you into a false sense of security while your dreams atrophy in the background, fading away. Everything you truly want, the sculpted body that turns heads and radiates vitality, the thriving business that grants freedom and abundance, the deep love that shakes your soul to its core, the legacy that outlives you and inspires generations, lives on the other side of things you've been avoiding like the plague, things that challenge your limits. The Stoics didn't just tolerate discomfort, they courted it like a lover, seeking it out deliberately. Seneca, one of the wealthiest men in Rome, would regularly practice voluntary hardship, sleeping on the hard floor instead of his luxurious bed, eating stale bread and water instead of lavish feasts, wearing rough, torn clothes instead of fine silk, not because he had to endure it, but to prove to himself that discomfort could not break his spirit, could not dictate his happiness or peace. He wanted to be ready, armored in mind and body. When life threw the real punches, the unavoidable trials that come for us all without warning. Want to get in shape and feel unbreakable in your physical form? Fall in love with the burn in your muscles during exertion, the sweat stinging your eyes as you push, the voice in your head begging you to stop after one more representative but you refuse. Want to build a business that changes lives and creates impact? Fall in love with the sting of rejection from prospects, the uncertainty of payroll and cash flow, the late nights questioning if it's all worth the sacrifice. Want deep, meaningful relationships that last through storms? Fall in love with the vulnerability of awkward conversations that expose your heart, the risk of radical honesty that could hurt, the fear of being truly seen and possibly rejected. Want financial freedom that lets you live on your terms without chains? Fall in love with delayed gratification, with saying no to impulse buys when temptation whispers sweet nothings in your ear like a siren. Discomfort is not the enemy of growth, it is the sacred currency you exchange for it, the price paid for expansion. You pay it every time you choose courage over convenience, expansion over ease, the unknown over the familiar. Every single time you choose discomfort on purpose, the cold shower that shocks your system, the difficult feedback that stings but improves, the bold ask that risks no, your comfort zone expands like a muscle under tension, growing stronger and larger. What used to terrify you becomes your new baseline, your everyday routine without fanfare. And one day, you realize the cage you were living in, the one built of fears, habits, and limiting stories, had an open door the entire time. You just had to be willing to walk through the fire, feel the heat sear your skin, and emerge transformed on the other side, reborn. Consider, what discomfort have you been avoiding that, if embraced, could unlock your next level? Become addicted to calculated risk, the kind that scares you just enough to prove you're alive and fully engaged. The fear never fully goes away, no matter how successful you become or how many victories you claim. It visits the bold and the timid alike, the titans and the beginners, whispering doubts. The rare few just learn to dance with it, to lead it across the floor gracefully instead of letting it step on their toes and dictate the rhythm. Seneca wrote from his own experiences of political intrigue, betrayal, and near death, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. The nightmare scenarios playing out in your head, the endless what-ifs, the vivid worst cases, are almost always infinitely worse than the actual fall, the actual failure when it comes. Wise risk-taking is not reckless gambling with your future on a whim. It is preparation meeting unshakable courage at the crossroads of decision. You do the homework, research the odds thoroughly, map the terrain with care, protect the vital downside so you can recover. Then you leap, heart pounding like a drum, palms sweating with anticipation, knowing that even if you crash and burn spectacularly, you will land on a higher ledge than the one you jumped from, wiser, tougher, and more capable for the experience gained. Every empire that ever rose from nothing, every masterpiece that hangs in museums inspiring awe, every love story worth telling in books or films began with someone saying a resounding, yes, when everyone else around them whispered, be reasonable, play it safe, don't rock the boat. Stop waiting for permission from people who've never taken a risk in their lives, whose advice comes from fear. Stop waiting for certainty, it's a fairy tale sold by those who profit from your inaction and hesitation. Certainty is for the dead, life is for the daring, the ones who act despite the unknown. Stop performing for the crowd and start being dangerously, unapologetically authentic, the kind of real that shakes rooms, shifts paradigms, and inspires others. The world is starving for originals in a sea of echoes and imitations that blend into noise. Your scars from battles lost and won, your weird laugh that echoes too loud in quiet rooms, your strange obsessions that no one else shares or understands, the unique way you see the world through lenses shaped by your pains, joys, and experiences, no one else on this planet has that exact combination, that precise alchemy. When you hide it all to fit in, to blend seamlessly into the background like camouflage, you don't just hurt yourself deeply. You rob humanity of the one irreplaceable gift only you can give, your unfiltered essence, your true voice. Epictetus, teaching from a simple stool despite his lameness and humble origins, said, don't explain your philosophy. Embody it, stop curating a polished personality for likes, approvals, and superficial validation. Start expressing the unfiltered truth of who you are, even when your voice shakes with vulnerability, even when it's messy and imperfect, even when it doesn't fit the script society handed you at birth like a role in a play. Yes, some people will leave your life when you show up as your true self, unmasked. Yes, some will mock you, criticize you harshly, try to pull you back into the safety of conformity where everyone looks the same. Let them go without regret. Let them talk and project. Their exit is not a loss, it's a clearing, making sacred space for the ones who were waiting all along for someone brave enough to be real, to be human, to be fully alive in their skin. If you are exhausted from wearing masks that no longer fit your face, from auditioning for roles you never wanted in the first place, and ready to burn them all in a bonfire of liberation and rebirth, comment right now to step into your power and own it. I am authentically me. Destroy every limiting belief you inherited like chains from the past, question them relentlessly, dismantle them piece by piece, burn them to ash until nothing remains. The most dangerous prison in existence has no bars, no walls, no armed guards watching your every move or step. It lives entirely between your ears, built brick by invisible brick from beliefs you never chose consciously, assumptions you never challenged with logic, stories you accepted as gospel truth without a single investigation or doubt. I'm too old to start over from scratch. I don't have the right degree or connections to succeed. People from my background, my family, my town don't make it big in the world. Those are not immutable facts carved in stone for eternity. They are self-imposed chains you agreed to wear, often to protect yourself from the discomfort of trying and possibly failing spectacularly. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself every morning amid the weight of empire and responsibility. Our life is what our thoughts make it. Same event in the world unfolding. Different story in your mind interpreting it. Completely different destiny unfolding before you as a result. The failure from years ago that still haunts your quiet moments does not get a vote in who you become today, unless you keep inviting it to the table like an unwelcome guest. The rejection last month that stung like salt in a fresh wound does not define your inherent worth, unless you let it rewrite your self-narrative permanently. You are not your past circumstances unless you keep renewing their lease on your future, signing the contract over and over. Strip them down layer by layer. Question every limiting thought ruthlessly, like a Stoic. Examining his soul under a microscope. Is this absolutely, undeniably true beyond doubt? Or is this just a story I've been telling myself to stay safe and small? Reframing isn't fluffy positive thinking without substance, it's accurate, empowered thinking grounded in reality. When you fail spectacularly, you didn't prove you can't succeed ever, you proved you're willing to try, to risk, to live fully. When you face towering obstacles that seem insurmountable, you're not cursed or unlucky, you're being forged in fire, prepared for something bigger that requires your full strength. When you're rejected harshly, you're not unworthy or broken beyond repair, you're being redirected toward alignments that honor your true path and value. Every limiting belief you release expands your world like a balloon filling with air, rising higher. Every story you rewrite opens doors to new possibilities you couldn't see before, hidden in plain sight. The rare few don't have objectively better circumstances than the majority. They have better interpretations, lenses that turn problems into puzzles to solve, failures into fuel for the journey. What limiting belief will you challenge today to free yourself? Pay the full price for your dreams and never, ever negotiate, no discounts sought, no shortcuts taken, no whining about the cost along the way. Everything worth having in this life, truly worth it, deeply fulfilling, has a non-negotiable price tag written not in dollars alone, but in sweat, sacrifice, loneliness, and unyielding discipline day after day. Epictetus, who owned nothing but his mind and indomitable will, said, "If you want a fig, there must first be time for it to blossom, then bear fruit, then ripen." No great thing is created suddenly. There are no shortcuts in nature's design, no hacks to bypass the seasons of growth and maturation. The price of a transformed body that radiates health, confidence, and vitality is a commitment to early mornings when everyone else hits snooze repeatedly, disciplined meals when indulgence calls your name like a temptress. The price of mastery in any craft or field is dedicated practice when others quit early, calling it good enough, and walking away. The price of financial freedom that lets you say no to what drains your soul is delayed gratification, investing wisely when temptation screams to spend it all now on fleeting pleasures. Most people, the majority, want the harvest without planting the seeds in fertile soil, the trophy without the blood and tears of training in the arena, the view from the summit without the arduous climb up the mountain. The rare few pay in full, up front, every single day without hesitation, knowing that the higher the price demanded, the greater the prize earned, the sweeter the victory tastes. And here's the profound secret they discover along the path. When you pay the price willingly, with open eyes, you don't just get the dream at the end of the road. You get the person you became while paying it, forged in fire like steel, unbreakable in spirit, confident in ways that money can't buy or fake. That evolved self is the real jackpot, the legacy that endures beyond material things. If you are willing to pay whatever it costs, no bargaining with fate, no shortcuts that cheapen the win, no turning back when it gets hard, declare it right now like a solemn vow. I pay the price daily. We began this journey at a choice point, that fork in the road where safety meets boundless possibility. We ended at another, even more profound one that demands action. Everything you just heard, every principle unpacked, every quote shared, every story told, is not mere entertainment to pass the time idly. It is a mirror held up to your soul, a call to arms for your spirit, medicine for the mediocrity that threatens us all in quiet ways. The majority will feel the rush of these words, nod in agreement, maybe even get chills down their spine, then go right back to sleep, back to the comfortable numbness of routine. The rare few, the warriors, the builders, the changemakers who leave marks, will close this video and take one irreversible action before the day ends, before the fire cools to embers. Your future self is watching this exact moment with tears in their eyes, holding their breath in anticipation, begging you from across the years. Please don't let this be another video you watched, felt inspired by momentarily, and then forgot in the scroll of daily distractions and obligations. This is the day the compound interest of courage begins accruing in your favor. This is the day you stop negotiating with mediocrity and start demanding excellence from yourself relentlessly. This is the day you join the rare few, not in words alone, but in deeds that echo. Hit like if you're serious about this path and committed. Drop the most powerful declaration you have burning inside you in the comments below. Share this with one human, just one, who's ready to wake up from the dream they've been sold by society. Subscribe, because this channel is a sanctuary, a forge for the rare few only, where we sharpen each other daily through wisdom. Now close this tab, turn off the distractions that pull you away. Go do the hard thing your old self would avoid like poison, the thing that scares you. Go send that message you've been drafting in your mind. Go make that call that terrifies but liberates. Go write the first page of your story, no matter how imperfect. Go lift the weight that breaks you down only to build you up stronger. Go have the conversation that changes everything, even if it hurts. If you are done watching from the sidelines, done being a spectator in your own life, and ready to step into the arena starting right this second, prove it to yourself, to the world, to the Stoics watching from history's pages. Type these exact words in the comments right now. I am the rare few starting today. I'll see you in the work, warrior. The life you were born for is not coming to find you passively. It's waiting out there in the wilderness, calling your name. Go claim it, now, with everything you've got.